Hi guys, I wanted to go over the questions for the two-step word problems so that you guys can be ready for your quiz tomorrow. So I'm just going to go through and solve the 5 that we did in class so that you can review at home. So I'm going to use my 5 steps of read the problem, make the table, read the problem, select the variables, make the table, write the equation, and then check the equation. So I'm going to be following those steps. So I'm reading the problem first. It says, suppose that the water level of a river is 34 feet and that it's receding at a rate of 0.5 feet per day. Write an equation for the water level L after D days. What is the water level after 7 days? So we're going to write an equation, a table, and then answer the question about the water level after 7 days. So I read my problem. I know that the water level is currently 34 feet and that it's receding or going down. So I know that my answer should be decreasing. My variables are the water level and the days. So I'm going to create my table, and I know that the days are independent and the water level is independent and the water level is dependent. The level of the river depends on how many days it has had to recede. So I'm going to start creating my table 0, 1, 2, 3. So at 0 days, I know my water level is 34 feet. After receding for 1 day, I know it's at 33.5 because it's receded or gone down 0.5 of a foot. If it recedes for another day or 2 whole days, it's going to be at 33, and then at 32.5. So each time, every day, it's going down by 0.5. So I've definitely got a little bit of a pattern going on here. Now if I make a big jump and I say, what about 10 days? So if my water level recedes for 10 days, that means I'm going to have to repeat that 0.5 10 times. So I don't really want to do that because that's a lot of steps. I'm going to use multiplication to shorten that up. So I'm going to do 10 times 0.5, and then I'm going to subtract that from 34. So I know my water level was at 34 feet, and if it recedes for 10 days, that means I'm going to do 10 days times 0.5, and that should give me what the water level is now. So multiply before subtract in order of operations. 0.5 times 10 equals 5, and it was at 34 feet and it receded 5 feet, so I know that my answer is 29 for that one. So this is going to help me see a pattern. So I know that my equation is going to be 34 minus the number of days times 0.5, and that's going to give me my water level. So now I have to answer my question, what about after 7 days? So I'm going to put my 7 days in where the D is, so I know I'm going to do 34 minus 7 times 0.5, and that's going to give me my water level. I know that 7 times 0.5 is 3.5, and I'm going to subtract that from 34 feet, where the water originally was. 34 minus 3.5 is 30.5, and that gives me my water level. So that's the answer to the last part of the question. Number 2 says a canoe rental service charges $20 transportation fee and then $30 per hour to rent a canoe. We want to know the cost of renting a canoe for 6 hours. So again, I'm going to do my read, variables, table, equation, check. So my canoe rental charges $20 transportation and $30 an hour. So I need to know my variables. So I need to know how many hours did I rent it for, and then my C, the total cost. So again, if I rent it for 0 hours, then I just have to pay the $20 transportation cost. If I rent for 1 hour, I have to pay the $30 per hour plus the $20 transportation cost, so that's $50. If I rent for 2 hours, I have to pay the $30 per hour, so 30 times 2 plus 20, so that would be $670, $80. If I rented for 3 hours, I would have to do 30 times 3 plus 20, which would be 110. So I think I'm on to a pattern here. I know if I want to know my cost, I have to take the number of hours I rented and multiply that by 30, and then add in the $20 transportation cost. I think that's going to work. So let me try it for 6 hours. If I rent my canoe for 6 hours, my 6 goes in the place of my hours variable. I want to multiply 6 times 30 and then add in the $20 transportation cost. 6 times 30 is 180. 180 plus 20 is $200. So there's my table and my equation. For babysitting, Nicole charges a flat fee of $3 plus $5 per hour. Write an equation for the cost after the hours of babysitting. So my variables again are how many hours did I babysit, and then what is the cost, or what is she gonna, how much money is she gonna make? To start my table, if I work 0 hours, technically she would get a $3 fee. If she works for 1 hour, she's going to get $5 plus $3 for the flat fee. So that's 8 altogether. If she babysits for 2 hours, that's going to be $5, so $10 plus 3. That's going to cost $13. If she babysits for 3 hours, that's going to be $5, or 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3 is going to be 18. So this is my variable, or my amount that's being repeated. So I know that depending on how many hours she works, we're going to multiply that by 5 and then add in the 3. So I know I'm going to take the hours that she works, multiply that by $5, and then add in the $3 rate. That's going to give me the cost. So let's see, if she babysits for 5 hours, how much will she make? I'm going to substitute the 5 into where the H is, multiply by 5, and then add 3. And that should give me my cost. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 3 is 28. So if she works for 5 hours, she's going to make $28. Number 4, a plumber charges $25 for a service call plus $50 per hour. So again, we've got hours and cost. If he just comes out to your house and works no hours, he's still going to charge you $25 for that service call. If he works for 1 hour, he's going to charge you $50 plus the service call, so 50 plus 25 is 75. If he works for 2 hours, he's going to charge you $250, which is 100, and then 100 plus 25. If he works for 3 hours, he's going to charge you $350, or 150 plus 25. All right, so I think I've got my pattern going on now. We need to take the number of hours that we work and multiply that by the per hour cost. So it's going to be hours times 50 plus the $25 service call. That's going to give me how much it costs for the plumber to come out. So if I want to do 10 hours of work, I'm going to do 10 times 50. 10 hours times $50, and then add in the $25 service charge. So that gives me $500 plus 25. 525 is the cost for 10 hours of work. And last but not least, in Alaska, a storm dumped 27 inches of snow on the city of Anchorage. After the blizzard, the snow melted at a rate of 1.5 inches per hour. Write an equation to show the relationship between the time t and the number of inches of snow that were left, and we're going to call that S. So in that case, we've got our two variables, time and snow that was left. If no time had passed, there was 27 inches of snow on the ground to start with. And then if 1 hour passed, that means 1.5 inches melted. So if the snow is melting, I know my number should be decreasing. So if I do 27 and decrease it by 1.5, that's going to be 25.5. If my snow melts for 2 hours, that's going to be 2 of those 1.5, so that's going to be 3 altogether, and that's going to bring me down to 24 inches. If it melts for another hour, it's going to take off another 1.5 inches. That's going to give me 22.5. So I know that my snow is melting at a rate of every hour it's going down by 1.5 inches. Okay, so I know that I have to start with those 27 inches for my formula. I'm going to subtract from that the number of hours that it melts times 1.5, and that's going to give me the total snow that's left over. So however many hours times 1.5, and that's going to give me the snow that is left over. And that is the last question. Hopefully you guys are getting the hang of these two-step equations, taking a table and writing an equation from it. Good luck on your test tomorrow.